a great day. Gets out of the car barefoot and just slogs into Subway barefoot.
Normally dressed otherwise.
Had his mask on.
Yeah, no shoes.
No shoes.
He was just letting it all hang out.
Yeah, but he got service.
Oh, he did.
Yeah.
No questions
Oh
asked.
yeah,
No questions asked.
He is wearing a mask, so that's the great
So that was
distractor.
interesting.
Right. Yeah, you can probably get into any place now.
What we should be doing is making a documentary about making a documentary.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know, it's
Did you
the stuff
ever?
we
Did
see.
your paths ever divert a little bit, like wondering? I mean, surely you guys have questioned what you're doing during a pandemic, right? Like,
Yeah.
what the
Oh,
fuck
yeah.
are we doing?
Oh yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
it's changed things because originally we were gonna drive from Santa Cruz to Virginia Beach.
Right.
On the 37th parallel.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the hot spot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the alien highway too, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah.
It is. And that's what our focus was.
Yeah.
We were
Just
just
all
gonna,
the weirdness along the 37th parallel.
We were going to go down the 37th parallel, and we still might at some point, who knows. But I don't think it'll be part of this documentary. And we were going to see what we found. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because it seems like it just gets, it's strange all the way across the highway, but the strange just changes as you get east of the Mississippi.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and then it turns into goblins and dogmen and, you know, all kinds of strange stuff in Kentucky and
Oh yeah, the
more
Kentucky
hauntings
goblins.
and
Is that the Hopkinsville goblin
Yes.
case? I think.
Yep. From
Mike,
Collier.
what's your last name?
Ferry. Ferry.
Okay, I just want to make sure.
Yeah.
Players here.
Yeah. So you know, and then there's the valley in Colorado. I can't even remember the name of it. That's where
Oh.
the first quote unquote mutilation of Snippy the horse took place.
Oh.
All kinds of. I mean, this is not too far from
It's
Dulce.
just kind of yeah. What is that valley called?
It starts with a D. But anyways,
I don't know.
yeah. So.
That must be like Linda Moulton Howe territory.
It is a big time. Yeah, that's her thing. And then we've also been warned. We have a friend of ours who's tied in really, really well with the natives, like
The Navajo.
the Navajos and stuff. He's been invited to Sundances and stuff.
Mhm.
It's a whole nother. I mean, we could tell you other stories. of what we've
Sundance
told.
is in not the film festival, but like
No.
a native.
Yeah, real.
Sundance is where they.
The hooks. Yeah.
the-
Oh,
hooks
is that
through
like
you
the
and
man
hang
called
you
a
up.
horse, where they get the guy up?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh
Yeah.
wow, that's
Oh,
called
really?
The
It's like that?
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was picturing something.
He was
Right.
he was invited to that, and that's typically a white man or a native only thing.
Mhm.
So it's
Wow.
it was a big deal. He was invited to it. But
Right.
he tells all kinds of stories with medicine men, and there's a Hopi man of wisdom, whatever you want to call him, shaman, who goes to all of the different
Powwows.
powwows. Thank you.
Mhm.
All of the different powwows across the country, but he never leaves the Hopi village.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So the Hopi are the ant people, right? They're the
Mhm.
ones that say they came from the center of the earth and that they were, I think, brought there by the ant people, and so all their little Indian carvings kind of have antenna,
they're small
antenna
people.
and stuff on them. Yeah.
Yeah, they're small people.
Oh, are they little
They live-
ants?
They keep to themselves on kind of a plateauish area.
Wow.
That's what I've been told. But, you know, yeah, he's got all kinds of stories. So we were going to do all of that.
Mhm.
But the whole point of me telling you this is that we had an interest in the skinwalker.
Mhm.
And we, you know, we saw some Navajo guys talk about skinwalkers and their experiences. And our friend says, he's like, do not go down that road. He says, once you go into any one of those villages, and I have a little bit of, this is going to sound strange, but I've got a little bit of cachet because my great uncle was head of the Indian affairs for the United States, Bureau of Indian Affairs.
Okay.
In fact, so much so they named a town after him in Arizona called Loop, Arizona. And so he was like one of their champions, and he did a lot of things for the native people.
So you have blood.
And so I was going to go in there. Well, kind of. I mean, obviously.
Enough.
I actually
Brother
met
from
a
another
man.
mother.
Yeah, I met a man at a dance in Colorado in Estes Park last year, who's named Francis. He was named after my great uncle.
Oh, really?
Really?
Yeah, yeah.
Mm.
Which was really interesting. I had a long talk with him. But yeah, they basically, they're like, once you go in there and you start talking about Skinwalker, they're going to shut up. And
Yeah. I mean,
escort you out.
This is a road we could go down for a while. I know that the natives just do not want to talk about it because they don't want to bring it, but it goes down the Bigfoot road too. They don't want to talk about that sometimes because they don't want to bring it out. Because it's not always a sign of luck,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about what happened in Oregon, your last case that you worked on. So you guys got freshly back from Eastern Oregon. I saw your vehicle. Let me tell people, first of all, I'm here with, it is Jill Remensnyder.
Yep.
Did I say it right? Brett Eichenberger and Mike Ferry of Resonance Production. And they're up, actually they're down here in Cottage Grove doing some filming with us and Daryl Adams. And before that, you guys were in Eastern Oregon. Your vehicle was a sight to behold. So I know you guys drove quite a bit to get to this location, but it sounds like it was an area that was so remote that it would be difficult to explain traditional answers, which is what cowboys like to give cattle mutilations, traditional answers to complicated questions. So describe a little bit about your trip there and what you saw when you got there, and maybe what you've been thinking since, because the cattle mutilations have not been answered, and you guys are looking into the questions. So go.
Take it away, Jill.
Okay, so as
I'm happy
far
to talk about it.
we didn't, the idea of like seeking out cattle mutilations to talk about was not on our list, but obviously, like, we're exploring Bigfoot, UFOs, and hauntings and other paranormal events, and so that just seemed kind of like a bridge between the Bigfoot and the UFO, like the UFO sightings or something there. And so as we started looking into, was it you were aware of the cattle mutilations that took place last year? Okay, so I found the articles, and there were two main mutilations. One was on a ranch where they had 6 bulls that were taken in one night. And then in about, an hour away?
Yeah, about an hour away.
About an hour away, a rancher had
Couple hours, maybe.
a cow that was taken.
Okay.
And we reached out to him, and he was open to talking to us. We never heard back from the others. So,
Right.
so we drove out to talk to him and just see what was going on. And we didn't know what to expect or what to look for.
Yeah.
I
Right.
guess this is new territory for us.
Yeah.
But what we found was some ranch hands who had questions, who weren't really sure what to make of it, except for whoever did this was either a very sick individual, a very skilled individual, or there's kind of an unknown element there.
Talented? Would you use the word talented to do what they did? Because, I mean, you described some very precise,
He may have said
Extremely
that.
skilled.
He may have said that at one point in the
very
interview.
Liam Neeson.
Yeah.
Well, even the ranch hand that made the discovery, he was talking about how he's a hunter. He's familiar with skinning animals, and he took like a butchery class or like for like cutting meat and stuff. And he's like, whoever did this, they really knew what they were doing, because there was not one drop of blood. The cow was drained of blood. Let me walk that one back. There was no blood whatsoever. And things were like removed with like surgical precision.
The udder,
The reproductive
vagina,
organs.
the anus, the eyes, I believe, and the heart.
The tongue. They took
And
the
the
tongue.
tongue.
But
Yeah.
no signs of like bullet wounds or stab
struggle.
wounds.
No signs
Yeah.
of
Sons of struggle.
Yeah.
When they were describing it to you, what was their demeanor? Did when you talk to a paranormal witness or a Bigfoot witness or, any of these 3 pillars you guys are working on, you can read the witness body language. What did you guys see when he was retelling that struck you as,
That's
worthy?
the part I'm interested in.
Yeah.
Because the thing is that we're coming from narrative filmmaking, and as a director, I talk to my actors about subtext. And when they're playing a role, I don't want to see them reciting the lines.
Right.
I want to see the subtext. I want to see that body language. I want to feel it.
Right.
Anybody and everybody can lie to you, or they can tell you something and actually be feeling the opposite. If you start getting good at that, you can start really kind of feeling out. And the truth is that I believe that they were scared to death. And he wasn't coming out like that. These are hardy people. They deal with frightening things, frightening for us urbanites or suburbanites, if you will, every single day. And, and there was a nervousness in his voice. And the thing is that I don't believe that they want to go down the paranormal road because it scares them. There's a fear there.
And you wonder if there's like a stigma attached to that in the community. It's a small community.
Right.
You don't want to be labeled.
Yeah. So why do you think they were willing to go on camera?
Because they want answers.
They want to know.
It seemed legitimate, like they were at that point. Like, I don't care, I want
They
to know.
seemed troubled. They really
they were
seemed troubled. The ranch hand we spoke with out on location, which, just to kind of set the scene, this wasn't like when you're driving down the highway and you see the cows and you roll down the window and yell, moo, like they're right there. No, this was 10 miles off the highway, and it wasn't just a road. This was like...
Yeah, you need a special
crazy.
automobile to be on these roads. It's not...
You're four-wheeling, and it's sketchy.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, for...
Yeah.
This isn't something like someone would be out there in a Ford Taurus or a Prius.
Now, is it one road into the ranch kind of deal? Like
Pretty
there's
much.
not other options except air?
I didn't see very many options.
They said there
It
was
seemed like
another option, but it was even sketchier
It was
even tougher.
Yeah.
It just didn't make sense.
Yeah.
But we're 5 miles down this road thinking to ourselves, no way. There's no way a cultist or Satanist or whatever coming out here. Because it occurred to me, it's almost laughable, but it occurred to me that like 5, 6, 7 miles into this thing, whoever these goons are with their sharp knives are going to be like, yeah, you know what? Let's just go to the butcher. This is not
right. Satan's our us, or wherever we're going.
Yeah, and it's like you better have some skills to change a tire in the middle of the night, to jump a battery, whatever. Because if you get out there and something happens to your automobile in the middle of the night or whatever, you're out there for a couple of days until somebody else comes by.
And that's awkward. The ranchers come by. Oh, hi.
So
isn't part of the conversation too, as far as delicacy of no blood, is that you have to find a place to do this. You can't do it in the field.
Yeah.
I mean, unless you kill it and put it on a tarp, but then you have to kill it.
Well, and that's just the thing, is that the surgical precision that was done by the cow was almost had an etiquette sound to it. Like, in other words, like, well, here I am. I'm gonna cut up your cow and take what I need, and I'm not gonna leave a mess for you to clean up.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, which was very, very strange to me.
Like a serial killer.
Yeah.
Right, like a calling card of...
Yeah.
a master
Because
killer.
goon Satanists or whatever, they're like, all right, we need here's our checklist: heart, vagina, eyes, tongue. Let's get it and get out of here. And we'll be careful. We'll wear gloves, whatever. But they're not going to find. How are they ever going to find you? Yeah, there's tire tracks. Maybe there's footprints.
But there weren't. Or they said there were some.
There weren't in this case.
Footprints, but I mean.
No, it was somebody came out there that was former military.
They talked about strange lights, but not on camera. Like after
Actually, they
explain
did.
that moment.
They talked a lot about strange lights. I mean,
they did.
Well, not a lot, but I mean, they said it's a common thing.
Okay.
I mean, it's not out of the ordinary, and they see a lot of military action out there too. So, it's like they're.
I think they handled that carefully.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
They weren't saying we don't know what it is. They're saying we don't know what it is, but it could be military. So
it could be military.
The only thing I can think of outside of UFOs is covert military operations. And the only reason I say that is because it's like, to me, I used to work in the Pentagon. I used to work with defense people, and I knew some people that were highly specialized in stuff. And to me, from a military training perspective, if we're talking about a Navy SEAL type Black Ops commando type situation where, you're giving instructions, you're like, this is where we want you to drop into in the cover of night, and we need to know that you did it, so you need to bring back a tongue, a heart. You know what I mean? It's like a scavenger hunt,
Mm-hmm.
and you need to not leave any blood, because when I hear about this, or if I ever hear about this, I don't want to hear about the mess you guys made. You know, like if you guys can do that, I know that you can drop into a presidential palace in a war-torn country and assassinate the leader and not get caught.
And remove his tongue and his anus. And
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's like
taxpayer dollars at work.
that makes sense to me. If
So you think this is like a rite of passage, like the final Hell Week of SEAL training?
that
it's
kind
a
of
theory.
makes sense
It's
to
a
me.
yeah, it's a theory.
I knew a guy who was an Army Ranger, and he would talk to me about how he would jump out of helicopters and airplanes in the dark at night at 1,500 feet.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he would immediately drop out and pull the cord on his parachute as he dropped out, not knowing where he was going to land. I don't know. And it's
Right.
the only group on the face of the planet that I know that could do something like this.
Right. Now, did the farmer tell you that they had one of the 6 bulls, an organ was removed from a part of the leg where they saw an exit wound? Or wait, what happened with
Yeah, we
that?
can show you the photos too.
Yeah, so the cow that was mutilated, there was like a hole, I guess, like a core in the back.
Shank?
A shank. I'm thinking
Yeah.
of the butcher,
Right.
the cuts of meat.
Right.
The tenderloin. Yeah, and apparently they I don't know who went in there, but there were organs extracted.
Would it
via
be
the hole.
possible to, you think, do that from what they were saying? Like, did it sound like it wasn't mechanically possible to get in through?
I don't know.
I don't know how it would
Yeah.
be.
I
But
don't
would
know.
there be an easier way if you want the heart?
Go in the chest.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm a practical thinker. so-
Yeah.
Did they ever use the word predation as though this was just a scavenger and a coyote, and this was,
They
God's?
ruled that out.
Yeah,
They
that
absolutely
was
ruled
the
out.
first thing they ruled out. There was
Yeah.
no way that could have been
They,
it.
Okay.
they see scavengers, and they know scavengers. They know,
Right.
when they see these types of things.
Mhm.
One of the things the ranch hand did say is he said it took a little while for the scavengers to come and get the
Oh, really?
meat.
To pick through it.
Yeah.
That's weird.
He thought that was kind of strange because they essentially just left the cow there, and the cow was in an area where there's water and a congregation area for the rest of the cattle. So they didn't move it. They unfortunately they didn't get a vet out there. They didn't get a necropsy.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't have, and the other thing too, red tape.
Bureaucracy.
Sorry. The bureaucracy kind of muddled things up a little bit too because it happened just over a county line. So when he called the sheriffs and so on and so forth, they're an hour to 2 hours away from sheriffs and cops. They were like, oh well, it's their responsibility. No, it's their responsibility. So they kind of bickered over who should come out and deal with it.
Mm-hmm.
But just to kind of go back to the crime scene, something else that we talked about when we were out there is the fact that not only did these people come out in the middle of the night, unbeknownst to...
Well, we don't know that they're people.
Well, I'm just saying
Something
the
came
guilty
out.
party, the
Right.
mutilators, they were able to isolate a cow. And when we were out there, the animal lover in me, as the cows were kind of curious, I would start walking towards them because I was like, I want to pet a cow. No, they just take off.
They're skittish.
They're skittish.
Yeah.
So the idea that a group of people could lure a cow and then take it down without it putting up a fight,
They talked about, maybe it was a blow dart, maybe it was a tranquilizer, but, they didn't see any sort of... They went over the cow really carefully looking for a bullet hole, looking for some place that, that would have been an entry point for some sort of...
Right. Bone
Tranquilizer.
fragment, something. Yeah.
They didn't see any of that stuff. Nothing. The other thing that I wanted to preference this a little bit ago, but a lot of people, I think, especially people that aren't familiar with ranching and working with cattle and animals and stuff like that, especially people that think, yeah, well, you're raising this cattle for meat or whatever. It's like they just assume that these ranchers out there are just like, yeah, you put them out to pasture, you sell them, they get chopped up, and they end up on your plate, somebody's plate someplace. That's not the case. That may be what happens, but these guys out there and their families take really good care of their animals. They love their animals. Some of the cattle actually have become pets and will remain pets. He had a couple out there.
Really?
This was very, very disturbing to him, his wife, and his children. I think he had 4 or 5 children. This was a pet. I'm sorry, this was not a pet. This was an animal that they cared about as if it were a pet.
Gotcha. Okay.
They've got what he said at some point on camera. We've got 1,200 head of cattle, and I know every one of them. I care about every one of them. We want them to live happy lives, and they do. And they work their asses off 24 hours a day.
Yeah.
And they're up, cracking on, and until the sun goes down, taking care of these animals, making sure they're well fed. It's a point of pride for these guys.
And also, when a cow or a bull is found dead, it's pretty easy to rule out whether it was an injury, sickness, what have you, a predator. But this just did not fit any. This did not fit any of those. Those.
Did you get the impression that they were holding back at all, like with some experiences?
I didn't.
Did you get that far with them? I mean, was it a long enough interview, or?
Yeah, sometimes the off-camera banter will kind of give you that. I didn't really feel like we got much of that. I mean, I think he went into the strange lights a little bit more off-camera. Both of them did, but he addressed it on camera. He wasn't. There was a couple of moments where he paused before answering a question, but he tried to be as honest as he could.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He gave some stuff some thought.
Pauses are important.
Yeah.
They are.
Yeah.
There's a lot in those pauses.
No, it's true. I mean, he was careful with his words.
Well, you want to be careful, because if you say, "Oh yeah, it could have been little green men,"
right?
That, I mean, people
zone in
on that.
But it shouldn't be that way. I know it is, especially with guys like that. But now we're at a new dawn, where the Pentagon has come forward. I mean, you know best, maybe, Brett. They don't put out press releases about off-world vehicles unless they mean it. Now, is it a shell game to get us to move a certain direction or think a certain way? I kind of think maybe. But they've definitely come forward now. I mean, History Channel's got a show again this Saturday about ex-Pentagon officials talking about off-world vehicles. So these
more
cowboys
stuff is coming this week and next week.
Right.
Yeah.
These cowboys didn't talk about that, though.
We brought it up.
Yeah.
We brought it up. They're not closed to the idea. They're open to the idea. They're not dismissing it, especially at this point. These guys aren't idiots. They know that land like the back of their hand. They know who's out there. They know what people are capable of. You know what I mean? I think it's the occultist or the Satanist or whatever is the popular notion. And there was another mutilated cow, I think in the 90s, it was his father's, that, that was like the official ruling, was that it was some sort of a cult. And the father was saying that the sheriff had tracked the people down, and it was a consortium for political activity and rituals and stuff, which is a whole nother rabbit hole that sounded interesting.
That's a different documentary.
That's a different documentary, but that came up like they needed like fresh organs from the field, if you will. Oh. Instead of from the butcher.
Okay. Like
for some
untainted meat,
some high end. I don't know if he said what group he said they were affiliated with, but it was some old guard group. Like we're getting into Bohemian Grove type stuff. Like weird type stuff. Was this another case of that? That sure didn't seem like it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, when we pulled up and we saw those bones, chills ran through our veins. It was like our animal instincts knew.
Really?
It was unsettling,
It just a bleached out bone sitting there.
Yeah, they're just sitting there in and amongst a bunch of other
Why did they just leave the bones? Is that tradition? They don't remove the whole corpse, or what?
Well, it sounds like usually the animal, when an animal dies out there, usually scavengers take it, but everything's still there.
Really?
Clean, yeah.
So the animals did touch it, but they didn't do their usual job of like carrying off the marrow, carrying off
No.
the bones.
No.
That's weird.
Yeah.
He said they've been moved a little bit, but I mean,
Yeah.
you couldn't tell.
Really?
There's still a rib cage and
The skull is
There's a
like
skull?
right
leg
there,
bones
yeah.
and
Yeah.
everything.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Did you guys examine it at all? Did you do like a
Just
field
photographically.
investigation of the bones on your own, or no?
Not really. We waved an EMF detector over the top of it and didn't pick anything up. Of course, this happened last September, so it's 11 months old.
Yeah, but
You know.
still.
But still,
Maybe you have
residual
like a-
stuff.
Who knows?
Residual.
Yeah, but no, we didn't look
Mhm.
carefully at it. It was pretty creepy.
It felt like, I mean, I don't know if intrusive is the right word, but it felt kind of hands off in a way.
Did you touch it?
No.
No,
Nobody did.
no. But here, actually, you know what? You bring up a great point that I forgot to bring up. This is something interesting. The ranch hand did touch it.
Oh, yeah.
And
Because he's moving the leg around.
he was moving the leg, investigating, trying to see if he could find a cause of death. And within hours, he was sick to his stomach, throwing up. And that went on for, 12 to 24 hours. And he's like, I never get sick.
Yeah,
Wow.
He said he was like violently ill.
Violently
all night.
ill. Yeah.
Now, he passed it off as food poisoning. He's like, I think it was just food
No,
poisoning.
he brought it up. He
But-
brought it up because
but
it was
he
specific
carefully
to
The
cow.
good old boy in
Presented
him
it.
kind of erupted,
kind of-
like
Yeah. I think he
backed
kind of
up.
caught himself.
Yeah.
You know?
yeah.
But we've heard that before from
Yeah,
from
Daryl
other
talks
people.
about that too.
Mhm.
About suddenly getting violently ill, a wave of nausea, and yours kind of sounds like a radiation sickness
Yeah.
or something like
Maybe.
that.
Yeah, that's exactly what it sounds like.
Yeah.
It was exactly what it sounds like. What was interesting to me, from kind of an investigative standpoint, was we got the drone up in the air, and I got it up way higher than I won't say how high, but higher than the FAA says I'm supposed to. But we're out in the middle of nowhere, and what I noticed was, if I'm a craft flying over, it's easy to find out where these cows are, because all tracks lead to this big circle where their water is.
Oh.
It sticks out like a sore thumb.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, wow, that's really interesting. You
Yeah.
know, like if you're passing over whatever and you're looking at this massive, sparse, barren landscape, you can really pick out the points where the cattle are congregated.
Yeah.
It's like the claw machine.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Like
Yeah.
Toy Story.
Yeah, so I don't know. I just thought that was interesting.
Yeah.
It is interesting. Now, in the couple minutes that we have left here, has it struck you that maybe this will be a project on its own? You kind of mentioned that maybe this cattle mutilation may take off on its own as its own little mini doc, or
It might. Oh, one last thing we need to preface is the tag number on the cow was 1313.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I assume that's what it was.
Yeah.
And that's a good number that's a bad number to get, I guess, if you're a cow.
Yeah.
But you guys, you were profoundly affected by this. I mean, it wasn't what you expected, or it was
It was
creepier?
more than what we expected.
More
I
than
think.
what you expected.
We
Well,
went
even
with
the
big
ranch hand
expectations.
said that hit him hard when he saw the tag. He was like, that freaked the crap out of me.
Yeah.
1313. It's like, yeah.
Out of all the numbers you
Out
could
of all the
have
numbers.
And
right.
it just
Not
it happened right after Friday the 13th.
Oh
Right
my
after,
God.
right
It was
before.
4 days after Friday
Right.
the 13th. Yeah.
Well, tonight we are going out on our own kind of little Friday the 13th into the Al Moon Lab area, and the full moon's coming up, and we have Jupiter and Saturn and Pluto all aligning together. Like, it's an amazing sight to see, so I'm excited about going out tonight. So we'll wrap it up, and I appreciate your guys' time, and look forward to more adventures ahead.